level designer from Bizarre Creations. Basically, I've worked on some of the track art in Project Gotham Racing 2, but I'm mainly here in PR capacity.
How did you decide cities to put in the game? It's like, obviously there's 10 of them.
Yeah.
So,
the cities were chosen mainly for diversity. We want each one to feel completely independent of the other, and that's diversity both in terms of what they look like and what the layout is, and how that layout can be translated into racing tracks, basically. So those are the main decisions.
I think I'm right in saying that it's a sort of final decision that the original, the first game's 4 cities won't be in this game.
Yeah. You want to know why?
Well, yeah, I want to know everything about that decision.
That's when I've told you a bit about the technology in Project Gotham Racing 2, you'll realise that to include the first cities would have effectively meant remodelling and retexturing them. And if we're going to do that for 4 cities, I think people would rather they have 4 new cities because it's probably about the same amount of work.
What work would be involved in actually converting these cities? Is it not just a case of the models already exist, or?
Well, no. The models in Project Gotham Racing 2 have 4 times the amount of polys in them.
Right.
And that's needed for all the render effects and the textures at higher resolution than in Project Gotham Racing 1. So really, it would have involved remodeling.
Right. Now, building these cities, when the first game came out, there was loads of kind of PR regarding how the cities were built and how you went around taking billions of photos, etc.
Yeah.
In order to texture everything up. Now, this is like 10 cities now. So, how did you cope with that workload?
I got more artists. Basically, yeah. I think everyone at Bizarre, because there's more than just one team at Bizarre. I think everyone at Bizarre has at some point or another done some work on the Project Gotham Racing team.
I heard that some of the city models, obviously not in terms of texturing, whatever, but just okay, this building goes here, that bridge goes there, type models, were simply purchased as opposed to built from scratch.
No, everything's been built.
Really?
Yeah, it's all internal.
It's an amazing amount of work.
Yeah. No, we didn't purchase anything. Absolutely not. I mean, to be honest, you know, the technology we're using is specific to this game. If we purchase models, they wouldn't work. They have to have all this texture work, and they have to be modelled in a certain way for it to work in the game. So we just couldn't purchase models; it wouldn't work. You know, you purchase a model, it'll have a purchased model will look just like the real building, and it will have far too many polygons in it. So it's actually probably just as much work to poly reduce that anyway.
剛啱送過俾你嘅有屬於黃女嘅作品 Home。Hello， 你好啊，收聽緊嘅係 Star Dream 星之夢電台，我係 Daniel 程振浩啊。
So you mentioned the technology. How has this evolved since Gotham 1 in terms of what's running the game?
Well, Project Gotham Racing 1, the whole track was stored in memory all the time. Project Gotham Racing 2, the tracks are streamed in as you drive around them, which means that we can, because it's streamed in, we have more memory at our disposal all the time. So we have more polygons in the scene, 4 times the amount of polygons in fact. We have basically higher res textures, and the higher polygon count is needed to support a lot of the new lighting techniques we use, some of which games haven't really used yet, like sky occlusion lighting. The artists have had to go through all of the textures in the game and basically remove the natural shadow from the textures. And the reason for that is because the game shadows. So if it had the original shadows in there, it would look out of place.
Certo, qui in città, ma ve ne parlerò tra poco. Tra pochissimo gli Smartphone Southstand dal loro album Jazz che è stato prodotto da Dakar.
The effects on the car.
Yeah.
Much improved over the original.
Yeah.
But the thing is, obviously, it's impacted on the frame rate, and I don't know whether that's something that's yet to be optimised.
Impact. I think personally the frame rate is much more consistent than PGR ones. And if you want a simple equation to work out, okay, if you render a game at 60 frames per second, you can, and then you go and you make a game that renders at 30 frames per second. If you render at 30 frames per second, you can draw twice as many polygons per frame. Yeah, so the visual quality doubles effectively. and that's exactly what we've done. And also we have a lot of effects. For example, full screen anti-aliasing. Full screen anti-aliasing renders the screen to memory at much higher resolution, and then downsizes it to give you softened edges on things and get rid of things like wire effect and stuff like that. So I think we're justified in what we've done. The thing is that when it's finished, it will be a constant 30 frames per second, and that's a pretty good frame rate. It's when it drops below 30 you'll notice.
So given that there's not enough resources to make it 60 like the original was,
Yeah.
because of the improved quality of
Yeah.
of the actual graphics.
Yeah.
Does this mean this is a game that's really pushing Xbox to close to its limit, do you think?
It's pushing Xbox, yeah. I think it's pushing Xbox, but that's not to say that we won't be able to better it.
In terms of gameplay, I thought one of the best things about the original was the way it was structured in terms of the kudos you have to learn to progress, and just the way the cones are set out, what have you,
Yeah.
made it more addictive because you always either just come close or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Well-
how has that changed now in terms
Okay.
of like, what's new?
The default difficulty setting in PGR2 is easier than PGR1 because we wanted to make the game more accessible to everybody. And also it's easier to unlock tracks and cars than it was before. But the harder difficulty settings are still just as challenging. And also there's more content to unlock. There's, PGR1 had 40, 50 cars in, PGR2 has 102 cars, and 10 cities and a bonus track, Nürburgring. So basically there's more to earn, but basically what we're doing is we're rewarding you more constantly all the time for playing.
Nürburgring's a bonus track, is it?
It's a track just like any other, but remember it's not a city, so we call it a bonus track purely because of that.
Is that the 10th one or is that 11?
That's the old 40-kilometre one that's not used anymore because it's too dangerous.
But does that bring a total number of actual?
Oh, 11.
Oh right.
Yeah.
How much?
10 cities plus 11. Sorry, plus 1.
How many circuits are there?
Well, they're not all circuits. Some of them are, for example, Cone Challenge is a straight run through a portion of the city. There's around about 100.
And generally, as players progress through all these different challenges,
Yeah.
apart from kind of new cars, what can they expect to get out of it, in your opinion?
Well, in single player, you can earn the cars you in single player you can use on the web when you play online. So from that point of view, there's that aspect of basically collecting. You collect the cars so you can use them to race in the multiplayer aspect. I mean, you don't have access to some of the best cars initially anyway, so you'll have to earn them to do that. The thing that will keep people going is, of course, the thrill of racing. If you don't like racing games, I guess.
How much work? I mean, when you look at GT4, the amount of work that's gone into ensuring it's simulation style accurate.
Yeah, well, we start off with a simulation. We start off with the torque graph of the car and realistic values. But you have to remember that also you're not controlling the steering wheel, you're controlling the pad. So we have a team of people, and their job is simply to tweak the handling. That's all they do. Tweak the handling, and we've had some help from Microsoft as well, because some of the employees from there that helped us with the handling. One of the guys is actually an ex-racing driver himself, and we look at the reviews of the car, and basically what we try and do is keep the character of the vehicle, if that's any way to put it really. We try and retain the character of the vehicle and get that into the game, but at the end of the day it has to be fun to drive.
Yeah, it's easy to have realism overkill in terms of the physics.
It's like this for any game. You can't put everything in, and you have to discern whether everything you're putting in is fun. And you should ask yourself that question at every aspect. Is it fun to do, and why is it there?
Are there any major new licenses that you've got the rights to use in terms of cars?
We have 102 cars in Project Gotham Racing 2. That's a lot more than the original. we have Ferrari Enzo,
Mhm.
Pagani Zonda, but they're much more diverse range of cars now as well, because we have everything from minis in their compact sports to up past supercars, extreme ultimates, and then in here we have, you know, the Enzo, the Ferrari, the Koenigsegg, Porsche Carrera, Ford GT, and then we also have things such as classic cars like E-Type Jaguar and Ferrari 250 GTO. We have some a bit more off-the-wall ones like Pacific Muscle, if you like going in a straight line. Utility series. There's a pickup truck in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And the point of it is to basically give people more choice, and that's not necessarily due to just numbers, but actually more diverse vehicles, basically.
Will people be able to just cheat to unlock everything? Because that kind of spoils the whole point of Gotham.
Because of the multiplayer, Project Gotham Racing 2 will not have any cheats any launch.
Really?
The only cheats that are in there at the moment are purely for the development.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they're in there. And a lot of good multiplayer games have been absolutely wrecked by people exploiting.
Yeah.
Fantasy Star Online's a good example. Like, people used to join in the lobbies on Fantasy Star and crash the whole lobby. You know, and it's just unacceptable, really. We want to make a racing game that people take seriously online, because if you, for example, the internet, the live support. Xbox Live has a guaranteed connection speed of 128k, and that is very useful from our point of view. And that is the reason why racing games work on the Xbox and online racing games don't work on, say, the PC. Because on the PC, one of the players might be using a 28k modem, and another of the players might be using 1 megabit ADSL. Whereas with Xbox Live, everybody is on even ground.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference to how seriously you can take the game. If somebody beats you, you feel like they beat you. You don't feel like their connection beat you. I think because of the things we've got in there, we haven't just made a multiplayer version of the same game. People are going to look at it and see how integral the game is to Xbox Live. I mean, normally if this machine was connected to a similar size to Xbox Live, there will be the world rankings would appear there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the fact that you can download those ghosts and play against them is absolutely fantastic.
What challenges did making this game playable online? What challenges does that present to you, since it's not been done before?
Well, normally one of the biggest problems, and one of the reasons, I mean, if you play something like Quake, for example, one of the biggest problems with it is, say, lag. And for a racing game, that's doubly so, because it's about time. It's about getting somewhere faster than somebody else. And so, lag can be a severe problem. But, like I said before, we're very fortunate because Xbox Live has this guaranteed speed that lag isn't that much of a problem. You know, there's a guaranteed ping and a guaranteed connection speed. We just want to make it as tight and give it as much longevity as possible. Mm-hmm. And for that, it has to be, you know, as fun as possible and as robust as possible. So.
Martin Chudley, I think he's still the MD, isn't he?
Yeah,
Bizarre.
well, he owns it, yeah.
He had quite a hands-on role with Gotham 1, and I programmed and stuff. Does he do anything along those lines now?
Does he do anything else?
Does he have his... I really is it like that?
No. Yeah, it's like that. He puts everything into the current project, which they're known as Gotham 2.
And for the company, like, what's next? Because a huge project like this out the way, it's kind of, well, what else is in the pipeline? I know there's some kind of secret question marks on your website.
Yeah.
But I guess you don't want to talk about those. But what would you personally like to see happen next? Even if it's just in terms of genre or direction, like where to now?
I quite like to do a more diverse range of games, but really, Bizarre as a company is perceived as a racing game company. I mean, I know we've done things like Fur Fighters, Treasure Planet, but the best games we made have been things like Project Gotham and so on. So we have other things planned. But
let's go. Watch out. You ain't got nothing. Smoked. Too much for you, man. Just too much for you. Sweet. Come on. Here we go.